Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Mythgard in Middle-earth. My name is Corey Olsen, the Tolkien Professor, joined as always by my friend Gryfflet, who has been trying to figure out what exactly Golthor is looking at, as he seems to be staring right into the back of a bush. But maybe he's just hiding, so I guess that's okay. Anyway, good afternoon. Yes, I'm joined also by my friend Pixie here, who is decided she wants to accompany me today. Oh, it's the Houses of Healing. Okay, so today, Gryfflet, of course, is in Osgiliath, which is very exciting, and we are going to see how many of the Osgiliath side quests. I don't know how many side quests we get, but we're going to do the side quests first, and then we'll do that instance. We'll do that instance if we can, and then we will, we'll see. I have no idea how long we're going to be in Minas Tirith. Maybe they have many quests for us here. Though it seemed like they meaning the rangers that we met there in the culverts, seemed in a huge hurry to get back to Minas Tirith. So maybe they won't send me on as many errands. But here we are. So we're at the Houses of Healing, the old Houses of Healing, the ruined Houses of Healing in Osgiliath. And we are recovering hidden food stores because, of course, we're recovering hidden stores, and also stores of Athelas. So, okay. And are those just vaguely... We can't even tell. Okay. But I think, can I... Oh, I can go into the House of the Healing. Well, here we are. Okay, then. Huh. Wiki suggests there's less than 10 quests here. Cool. I like the head of the old king staring straight at you when you come in the door. Oh, so there are no mobs in here at all? You just have to pick stuff up? What, the ranger couldn't be troubled to do that himself? Too busy staring at thorn bushes? How am I supposed to get up to the top shelf there? Well, sorry. Same way I carry boulders between 8 and 50 times as heavy as I am. Okay. We are getting crates of rations, which are, I have to say, by Gryfflet standards, these supplies are very poorly concealed. I mean, you barely even have to disturb a pile of rubble in order to... Uh-oh. Hang on a second. Oh, there we go. Was lagging for a minute. Okay. Sorry. I can see the sneezing fit coming. Alright. Look at this. Just leaving them right on top of the rubble. Like, for anybody to pick up. Why should I complain? Okay. Not complaining. Because you know what these crates of rations feature? A 100% chance of finding a crate of rations. That's what. That would be the final indignity. Right, if they had a bunch of them empty. Like if they didn't actually drop crates of rations every time, and you're just like, actually, turned out not to be a crate of rations. Okay. Well, that was easy. Good grief. There's nothing even to sneak around in here. Okay, no problem. Let's see. Alright, Golthor. I could give people some lessons in hiding supplies, is what I'm saying.
Must be defeated.
It is fortunate that the Easterlings had not yet picked the old houses clean. Not at all. For we shall have much need of these goods. I shall see them return to the rest of my men in the tunnels. No problem. Great. What is the cause of the lag this morning, one wonders? One of my fellows is lost, and I fear what may have befallen him. The Easterlings spotted him as we moved here, and our paths diverged as they gave chase. When last I saw him, we made for the eastern bridge into the old Dome of Stars. He made, right. but I hope his pursuers did not drive him there, for all manner of evil things have taken hold of it. You are a hardy burglar and might be able to bear the dread that surrounds the dome. I hope so. I really want to see the Dome of the Stars. Will you search for him there? Absolutely. I will not abandon him until I am assured of his fate, but death has not been a stranger to our men in these dark days. Okay. Oh, hey, I forgot to get my presents. What do I get? Minor morale potion. Okay. Armor, huh? I wonder if it's actually an upgrade. Let's see. No. Okay, fine. Oh, maybe some of the other things will be, though. Huh? Yeah. Boots kind of are. I'll take the boots. Okay. Let's see. So, there's the House of the Healing. I guess I should kill some orcs just to get rid of this overlay. Oh, actually, I'm pretty close to the Dome of the Stars, or well, to the access point to the Dome of the Stars. Might as well head that way. All right. Time for some stealth, Gryfflet. Let's see, the Ashes and Stars questline fill. Is that the instance? Oh, it's Battle Cat. I think I have to go this way, and there we go. I can take left. Excuse me, everybody. Coming through. Coming through, Easterlings. Oh, it's Romendikil Square. Oh, yeah, you see the irony, right? Yeah, I love it. How the Easterlings have made camp in Romendikil Square. Romendikil means East Victor. So Romendikil was the name that, you know, I forget which king. King again. One of the kings of Gondor took after a major defeat of the Easterlings, you see. That's all. Turnabout is fair play and all. I found the bridge and should now search for the lost ranger. Uh-oh, blue flames. Can't be good. Alright. Uh-oh. Well, man, I love it when they do this. Like, they brought along skeletons in cages and erected them along the way. They're like... It's like, and now the exterior decorating arm of our army. Because it's not like they just put some fresh Rangers of Ithilien up there. Oh, nice load screen. You know, like to Blackguard. I totally, when he walked around the corner, I totally thought it said Bank Guard. I'm like, what, really? Okay, anyway, search for the lost ranger. Oh dear. Is this him? So who are these dudes and where do they come from? Why are there... But I guess this is probably the guy. Why are there blackguards walking about? I don't understand. Are they... The ranger's body is battered and contorted as if he were dropped from a great height. Really? Oh, here he comes. Okay, well, at least this will give me a chance to actually look at you. So you're wearing old armor, clearly of Gondor. Why is an old gun, but with, like, you know, spirity stuff? Oh, I just have to go back to Golthir? That's it? Really? I don't get to look around at all? I assume I'll be back. To get to to penetrate the mystery of the blackguards of the Dome of the Stars. So the fallen stars, I assume this is If the Ashes and Stars quest, I assume that's going to come along here, right? So the Dome of the Stars was the center of Gondor. I mean, people sometimes forget. I mean, not like all the time, but it's easy to overlook the fact. Like, it's easy when reading the books to be so fixed on, sort of fixated on. Can I get through there? I guess I can. Sorry. To get so fixated on Minas Tirith as the city of Gondor, right? I mean, the way they talk about it in the book is such that it's easy to forget that Osgiliath was the city of Gondor, right? Minas Tirith is just the city of Gondor that's left, right?
The Rangers will not surrender Osgiliath.
Golthor shakes his head. Those fell beasts and their dark riders seem to delight in dropping the wounded from above. Man and orc alike. Let us hope that no others must suffer this sorry fate. Oh dear. That's it? Nothing else, huh? Really? Huh. So, okay. I thought, kind of thought that would go differently. I was expecting a follow-up quest. More Dome of the Stars material. I guess I can always go back to the Dome of the Stars and just wander around, but, let me wait and see if I get more quests for there, because I bet you I will. Alright. So I'm going a different way, because if I get spotted, I want it to be by orcs and not by Easterlings. But I'm going to go across the central bridge here and find some of the other dudes. I've got 3 other dudes to find. The Baths of Ulster, huh? Speaking of baths, I don't think everybody really wants to listen to you lick yourself for 2 hours, Pixie. You know? I'm just a theory of mine. Okay. Now oops. Oh, this bridge is a no-go, huh? I see. We gotta go down to that one, huh? Okay. Let's see. Let's see, Pixie. Yeah, we're gonna head around this way. We gotta go down to that bridge. I think we get over here. Should have some stairs. Well. Yeah. There we go. It's just what I was looking for. Okay. Now we're down on the bridge. I guess we could just go to this one straight ahead of us then, up in the archives. That sounds like fun. Who doesn't like a little archival work, especially in ruined archives? You know why? Because there, the archivists are much less strict. Yeah, you can probably bring your beverages in with you, if it's already in ruins. No end of benefits. Alright. So here we are at the High Archives, except we can't go any further, apparently. So I've got to go around the High Archives, or whatever that is. Okay. I mean, it's not exactly just an army encampment, but it is thoughtful of them to, like, so first they build these enormous fires, and then, like, groups of 1 to 4 orcs patiently sit near the fires. Okay. There he is. Candúr. Okay, here we go.
We must protect Gondor.
He noticeably
at all
flinches and
cost.
readies his weapons. I feared my position was discovered. Well, it is, but, you know, just by me. I am sorry, stranger. Mablung sent you? I shall return to the tunnels with haste, but I cannot abandon my post until my friend returns, and we have saved more of our old records. Okay, we're record keeping. Okay, so what should we do? My ally Echil has delayed in his return, and I fear that the Easterlings or the flames within have overwhelmed him. I must guard here, but if you would seek him out, I would be most grateful. He was to collect some of our writings, as well as a few of the crumbling works that were never moved from the city long ago, for fear that they might turn to dust at a touch. I'm not sure that's a great reason to leave them in a decaying ruin. You know what I mean? Aid him, and then return to me, for then I shall heed Mablung's call and sneak back to the culverts. I mean, on several levels, Pixie, right? I mean, I ask you. First of all, if you leave them in the decaying ruin, what good are they going to be? I mean, like, they might as well collapse into dust, right? They're not doing anybody any good. Secondly, are they really less likely to collapse into dust under the atmospheric conditions of an ancient ruin in the middle of a river? I question the archival standards of Minas Tirith, but then again, so apparently did Peter Jackson. Okay. Alright, where are we going? Map, no. Alright, we're searching for Echo. He's a little harder to find than the other dude was in the Dome of the Stars. Wow. Not so many traveling options here. Lots of ways out of this hall. Only one of them that is not on fire. Okay, wow. Yeah. I think it might just be time to not leave your records here any longer. Alright, who do we have here? Just Easterlings. Standing by the lecterns. Guarding them assiduously. Okay. Weird. So there's just Easterlings. I don't see any rangers, even of any kind. Am I missing something? Okay. There's that first Easterling. And the stairs I came up. Oh, wait, I can go over here. Okay, see, I did miss something. There seems to be one path through this building. Okay. No. And I'm down to 0 paths through this building, unless I can get around this way. No, nothing here. Okay. So can I get a sparkly corpse, or maybe a ranger with a ring over his head? Alright. Let's see what else I missed. Because there was nothing that way, so nothing upstairs. No rangers upstairs. Oh, you saw a ring on the minimap? I can't even jump over that thing. I didn't see the ring on the minimap. Where's the ring on the minimap? Oh, there, huh? Oh, hi! Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, you're having an orthopedic issue. That's awkward.
We must protect Gondor.
A friendly face. I'm fine, but for a wounded leg. Yeah, alas, these Easterlings gave me some trouble. Unfortunately for them, I gave them more. They spoke of some Lord of Pinions. Oh, dear. But I know none who would bear such a title. I can return to Candúr, but I have not finished collecting our writings. We keep many of our writings as well as those we have taken from the enemy's forces within the old archives, but the Easterlings have set flame to it all. You can recover those that remain, Candúr and I would be most grateful. Sure, so collect bundles of recovered writings, collect crumbling tomes carefully. Alright, here we go. Let's see, how about Gryfflet? Why don't you get some stealth going on here again? Alright. These are the recovered writings? Okay, I see. So we, those bookshelves were carefully occupied. Oh, that's right. I can't jump over the little log. I have to go over the enormous heap. Right on. Okay. Can I go up here? Because probably upstairs, where my other Easterling friends are, there's probably more. Oh, see, those are the crumbling tomes. Okay. Carefully picking up the crumbling tome. Yeah, I'm pocketing entire shelves full, really entire bookcases full. That's just what I'm doing. It is one of the laws of physics I am happy to suspend. Oh dear. Well, guess I'll start with you. And then I'll shift to you. Okay. Great. Another brace of recovered writing shelves. I can't even reach that shelf, but I guess I could theoretically climb up on rubble. I am now carrying, by my estimation, something like 45 books, maybe closer to 60 books. Which, I can tell you, is no insignificant amount of weight. Ooh. Crumbling tome. Lo, a tome. It crumbles. Okay. Alright, one more brace of recovered writings and we're good. Wasn't there another? Where? No. No, still wasn't. Okay, back downstairs. Okay, that's where my friend Ekhil is. Let's see, was there another way through? No, it's the way out. No, I don't think there was. Remember there was a... Yeah. Pixie. Those are the shelves I got originally. Gosh, I wouldn't think books would be so very hard to find in an archive. Are there other options? Yeah, there we are, on the other side. Okay. Yeah, there's a little Easterling warrior over here. There we go. There they are. Oh, he's like perusing the shelves. Sorry to interrupt you, man. You were like ready for some improving book learning. Okay. Alright, and there we go. Thank you, Easterling warrior, for guiding me to this door. Or, you know, your floaty text guiding me to this door. Okay. Oh. Which bank was Ithilien hiding behind? One of these or other? Seriously, dude. Where'd he go? Guess he's in the other one. No. Did he leave? Oh, yeah, he did leave. I'm just supposed to go out to Candúr. Okay. He just bailed on me, huh? I see. Hey, Candúr, did that other guy come through here? Or? I'm glad that Ithilien was not caught unawares, and that so many of the writings we collected survived. You have done me a great service, and I hope that you will fight alongside us in the battles that loom ahead. Absolutely. I shall store these away and make for the culverts at once. Great. Okay. Ah, I'm now an ally to the Rangers of Ithilien. How lovely. Oh, yeah. Sorry, just checking things over here. Okay. Got some rep. Always appreciate that. Okay, now I'm headed from here. Let's go north. Ooh, the Palace of Eldacar in Meldir Square. Sounds great. An Orc high slaver. Alright, I gotta go around. I gotta say, the urban planners of Osgiliath really might need a talking to. I mean, I'm willing to believe it was better in the old days before being ruined. But still. Okay, somebody, and I'm not naming any names, has her tail right on the keyboard, and I keep trying to move it, and we keep having a disagreement about that. Now, I'm tucking your tail down there because, seriously, I have to get to those keys, you know? Okay. Ah, here he is. Huh, look. Corpse here in the middle of nowhere. And as I'm going to have to unstealth myself soon anyway. Hello, Halthir. Yes, Halthir. You are fortunate that you do not bear the markings of the Morgul host, else I would have struck you down before you dared step so close. Oh, you didn't see me. Don't even try to pretend. I shall heed Mablung's order in time, but if you wish to count yourself among us, you should aid me first, for there are far more pressing matters at hand. More pressing than what? Obeying your captain? What shall it be? What, you're giving me an ultimatum? Have you passed through the square? I passed through a billion squares, and it's hard to tell them apart. I doubt you have, for your head still sits on your neck. Boy, hostile much, dude? They gather the imprisoned in the theater to the south, and then they drag them out into the square to be tortured and beheaded. They play with the bodies, and they toss around the heads, laughing with those horrible orcish tongues. Whoa, that's gnarly. After a time they burn the corpses, but the heads they keep, and I do not know to what vile end, nor do I wish to. Oh dear. This is war, make no mistake of that. If you are to be one of us, you must know the horrors we have endured. Make for the square and free any of our men that yet live, and slay any of those troll men that stand in your way. Made to suffer. That's, of course, a quote from the book. The faces of those whose heads were lobbed into Minas Tirith looked as if they had been made to suffer. Okay, so what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to free rangers. Hey, man. Make a run for it. He said to kill the half-trolls, but I don't actually have a quest for that. I mean, I'm apparently going to have to do it anyway with this dude. Is it this one that does the... Let's see, it causes the enemy... Yeah, I think it is that one. Hi, Mr. Captured Ranger. I shall free you from the pillory. Off you go. Alright, let's see. He's lounging on a rack. That's good. That's good. I like it. Just chilling. Okay, see, Mr. Captured Ranger, we're doing this burglariously. Who's that dude? Half-troll blade master? He looks nasty. Alright. Maybe it is how the half-trolls get so tall. Okay, how many was that? 4? We're halfway there. I'm not going to fetch the soft cushions. I do have some decency left. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there he is. Up there. Just hiding behind the post there. Well, it's hard to blame somebody, accuse somebody who's actually in a pillory of hiding. What? Well, what's your plan? Uh-oh, I seem to be in combat. With whom? Oh, with you. Fine. Okay. 3 more. I hope it's not going to be one of those things where after I free them, it then gives me the quest. It then populates the quest. Okay, I've already freed those guys, even though it doesn't look like it. Okay, I was looking to see if there was like another side of the... Oh, that Morgul Raider looks like the beginning of non-executioner territory. Where are the others then? Half-troll Blade Master, who seems to be... First of all, what is up with those blades? Secondly, he seems to be chiefly a cheerleader. Okay. Mr. Executioner, I'll look from over here. We have a slaver over here, but I don't think that's the same thing. That's the guy I already did. 2 empty pillories up there. Huh. Oh, further down this way, huh? right, let me head over here. I gotta go around the corner? Down through here? Huh. Seems rather far afield. Would have expected them to be clustered a bit more together than this. What is going on? All the way around here and then back up? This is a completely different area altogether. What is even happening? Can I get through there? No. What the heck? As I say, urban planning in Osgiliath. Not among my favorite things. I know it shouldn't be so far from the rest of them. That's what I can't figure either. How do I get up there? Discovered the theater of Candúr. Here we go. That should have been easier. Oh, I see. Right, it's the theater where they're actually being, like, executed and stuff. Am I going to get to see any head throwing? No. There has to have been an easier way in here than the one that I found. Okay, excuse me, everybody. Coming through quietly. There we go. I think I'm gonna have to kill you. Okay. Here you go, dude. I'm here for you. I don't know how they're going to escape if they're just running off. Running off unarmed into that crowd, but I'll hope for the best. Yeah, JJ says, I'm getting a bit envious of Burglar's ability to just walk to his destination instead of needing to fight multiple enemies every other step. I know, right? I mean, I remember when I was doing my Wiggins stream, how much I was longing for stealth ability. Okay. Let me go out the front door here, which obviously I missed. Oh, right there, huh? Yeah. Well, you kludged it all up with the spikes and whatever. Okay, back to my hostile friend Halthir, who was over here somewhere. Excuse me, guys. That's it. Ravaging warg. Sorry, saw him out of the corner of my eye and thought it said recovering warg. I was like, good on you, man. Good on you.
What news have you?
It pains me to see so few left alive. Dude, I saved a whole bunch. But any who are spared that fate have truly been granted a new life. You have my thanks.
Is there no end to any
Fellow Ranger and I were to scout the square, but we became separated. Of course you did. His name is of no import to you. I'm on a need-to-know basis, am I? For you did not know him as I have. I saw him scout... Who claimed I knew him as well as you did? But maybe knowing his name would be handy if I meet him. Just suggesting. I saw him scout near the old Palace of King Eldacar, but then he was lost from sight, and I had to fall back. The palace is a grim place, and I believe the enemy seeks to use it as a stronghold for his servants, the Nazgul. Oh dear. They spend much of their time up above on those vile beasts, but I have seen them pass among the forces here in Osgiliath, and even the Orcs recoil at their approach. If he has gone into the palace, he is likely dead, but I wish to know for certain. Search the palace and return to me here when you have finished. Only then shall we speak of returning to the tunnels. I love how he's like, okay, I will obey the orders of my commander, but only if you pay my price. It's like, I'm not a soldier, but I don't think that's how it works. I've always been led to believe that it did not work like that. Exactly. Yes, your friend Ekhil sent me. But don't worry, your identity is secure. Oh, this large stairwell might be the... Oh, dear. Oh, they brought statues with them. Oh, no. They really do have an entire crew. The air grows heavy and dreadful near the palace. Yes, it does. I mean, bringing banners, I can understand. Bringing cages, just in case you find prisoners you want to cage up in them, could be seen as an excess of preparation. Bringing old skeletons to install in those cages is very detail-oriented indeed. Bringing blue flame torches might seem prudent, establish the ambiance that you want, but to bring statuary to erect at strategic locations, now that is beyond the pale. The Palace of Eldacar. Here we are. Searching for the lost ranger. Oh, boy, they do die in convenient locations around here. Strange wounds mark the man's lifeless body, and a blunted Morgul blade lies nearby. Okay, well, thanks, we're out of here. The seat of two kings. Really? That's... Well, we can't actually go anywhere. Okay, but if there was nothing else for us to do in here than that, why even make an interior? I don't understand. Phil asks, does Tolkien ever talk of ogres? No. I think he might once or twice use the word, but he doesn't use it as if he is describing a like a separate race of creatures, So yes, the creatures that are known in some fantasy and fairy tale traditions as ogres do not, in fact, seem to play any part in Tolkien's world. There doesn't seem to be any indication of that. Oh yeah, sorry, going the wrong way. It's up over, around this way. You gotta pass the pillories on your left, then these two Haradrim warriors, then he's right around the corner. Yeah. Right, JJ is suggesting maybe the Morgul, maybe the Nazgul have pre-packed occupation kits that they just need to unbox and erect quickly. It is possible. They might not be real statues. Maybe they're just like cardboard mock-ups.
Is there no end to enemy forces invading our land?
He should have known better than to tread so close to the enemy's holdings, even if knowledge of their movements could be gained. Do not think me a callous man. It is hard to muster much feeling after seeing so many of one's friends murdered by these vile wraiths. Oh, and now he's like, and of course now, and I'm not even going to close our conversation. I'm just apparently out of here now. And of course now telling you his name is obviously moot, so forget about it. Why does he still have a red? Unless it's not him. Is there something else here I'm supposed to do? I'm confused. Oh, that's just an orc to kill? Yeah, there is an orc over there. I saw it too. Man, I've been all around Osgiliath and I haven't killed a single orc. That's actually kind of boss. Let's see if I can do them all without killing any orcs. Okay, go all the way down through the court, past the archives, through the court of an Aryan, and past the armory into the very lowest corner. Alright. Head south, as far south as we can get. Yeah, he absolutely... Okay, so JJ's pointing out he did use the word ogre back in what sounds like the Book of Lost Tales, when he's talking about the Uvanamor, the servants of Melko. Yeah. He also, at that point, he was apparently assuming there would be giants, too. But they went away. Yeah, I think that the catalog of the Uvanamor there that you're talking about is the same as the, like, in the same bit, is it? Or close in proximity in the Book of Lost Tales Volume 1 to where we get the lists of the Maya of the other Valar, including like sylphs, brownies, salamanders, things like that. In other words, in those places, he was... In his beginnings, Tolkien was doing less world building and more writing explanatory myths behind established, like, fairy traditions, essentially, is what he was doing. So he tended to... So he wasn't, like, filling out his world, right, with, like, consistent sets of creatures with stories that fit and all that kind of thing. He was... Those are like catalogs, and he never talks about them. He never talks about the... you know, we never get stories about sylphs and brownies, for instance. Nor do we ever get stories about ogres. So they do it. They are traditional fairy tale creatures, just like sylphs and brownies and that sort of thing. So he was... We get those sort of catalogs, but we never actually meet any of them. He seems to... I want to say he moves away from that, but he certainly seems to move away from that nomenclature. Okay. All right, Meldir. Hey. So Mablung sends me to the surface to search for arms, and now he wishes for me just to return? Just as soon as I find a secure position? Faramir would not have us hide in the culverts and cower while our people die. I will return when I finish my task and not a moment sooner. Well, these people have a low view of the chain of command. If I should die, it will be in the aid of my brothers, not backed into a corner like a hunted beast. The host of Minas Morgul has no shortage of workers and warriors, and I would deprive them of any advantage that may be left behind. Aid me and I shall return. Another bargainer.
The Morgul host must be defeated.
Okay. I'm in a dire position. The army suffered greatly in the assault on the western half of the city, and now only its walls stand as a reminder that it was ever here. When we still held the western shore, we stored a great deal of weapons within the armory. Oh, I was going to say, why would you do that? But I was thinking from Minas Tirith's perspective. Why wouldn't you keep them in Minas Tirith? But, of course, you mean the Rangers, right? Did you hide them in the rubble successfully, though? This is why you always hide the supplies in the rubble, cunningly, so that it takes an industrious burglar to find it. Yet now the orcs and trolls roam its ruins, and our weapon stores are exposed. I have not been able to get close enough to gather many, but perhaps you can. I am an expert supply gatherer. You've come to the right place. If you return these weapons to me, I shall be able to hasten my return to the tunnels. Okay. If I can find these 8 barrels without slaying another orc, I will have accomplished something like a low-key burglarious feat here. Alright, so over that way, huh? Past the wargs. Looking at how to get up to the left here. No, I don't really want to go down there. I want to I think I'll go around the other way. Awesome. JJ says, Christopher Tolkien uses it in his notes on Return of the Shadow. Another version of Bingo's account makes it Bilbo and Bingo who had to encounter with Maggot and the farmer a real ogre. Yeah, exactly. So thank you, JJ, for finding that. I was going to talk about that. Not that I wasn't remembering that passage specifically, but the fact that he does still use the word ogre like that, like as a sort of a metaphor, not as a species of creature, but as a kind of metaphor. An ogre, I guess we are going to have to jump down. Where's the stuff? This is ridiculous. Alright, guess I should have kept going the other way after all. Anyway, yes. So using the ogre in the sense of Farmer Maggot is a real ogre, right? Meaning he's very mean. He still retains that usage. Not in the published text, right? It was in his notes. So it's a word that suggests it is a piece of Tolkien's own vocabulary. Like it's a word that he would use to describe that sort of thing. But it is not a species of creature. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. I can say JJ's doing his e-text searches, so that's really great. Right? In The Hobbit, poor Bilbo sat in the dark thinking of all the horrible names of all the giants and ogres he had ever heard of in tales. Right, exactly. In the riddle game, sure. And once again, it's another, like, giants and ogres, both of which are conspicuously not in any, like, finished version of Middle-earth. Okay, I'm in, like, the dead middle of the purple zone. Oh, finally. Yeah. And of course I would add that in The Hobbit, he wasn't exactly doing world building yet either. Does that seem strange to say? I think it's true though. Well, sadly, I was gonna have to start killing orcs soon anyhow. It was kind of fun that I was able to do 3/4 of the quests without killing any orcs. I mean, normally I would just like assume that quest of kill 10 orcs would have happened naturally without trying very hard. Anyway, oop, hang on, who's shooting me? You over here? Okay, fine. I can't believe that other archer didn't see me. Yeah, so, okay. let me explain what I mean. It is an interesting thing. I've been talking about this quite a bit lately, in various contexts, actually. This kind of seems to have come up a lot lately. It is clear to me, from reading the history of Middle-earth and the nature of Middle-earth, do a comparison of how Tolkien was thinking about his mythology. Dude, I was totally stealthed. What's wrong with you? You're not supposed to see me. Anyway, right. When you look at the Book of Lost Tales, where he begins talking about his mythology, and then you look at the Lord of the Rings, and then you look at, oh no, I came from down there where there were no weapons. Okay, yeah, over here. And then you look at the nature of Middle-earth, right? In his latter days, post Lord of the Rings, and look at how he is sort of dealing with his mythology at that point. And you will see a complete turnaround. And the main focal point of that turnaround, the thing that's really different, is his attitude towards world building. And it's funny because, of course, you know, almost everybody knows Tolkien from The Lord of the Rings, obviously. And The Lord of the Rings is very noteworthy for its rather meticulous world building. And so, therefore, Tolkien has this reputation as this wonderful world builder, which he is. Very wonderful world building. And so people don't realize that he didn't start there. That was not his passion. It was never his passion. World building. Mythology was his passion. Wow. I'm not feeling it, guys. As you were. Yeah, mythology was his passion originally. Then he kind of got the world building bug. Like when he was writing The Lord of the Rings, he fell in love with world building, basically. I guess I might as well kill my other 5 orcs while I'm here. Or maybe, okay, I'll kill these 2, and then I'll go back to what's-his-face. Because maybe he might send me back and I'll have to kill more orcs in fulfilling his next backup quest. Okay. Let's see if I can find a better way down there. Anyway, okay, the slow dancing trolls. No, those are different slow dancing trolls, I think. Yeah, so he it was writing The Lord of the Rings that changed his life in this way. He clearly and so even the Hobbit was quite different. And he was not doing... Oh, wait. Took a wrong turn there. Through the warg area. Because the ranger decided cunningly to hide right near all of the scent tracking mobs. Because that's how you do it. Boy, I'm taking every possible wrong turn trying to find this dude. Okay, here we go. Yes, these will do nicely. With so many foes surrounding us, we will need a large supply of blades, for even the strongest sword shall eventually wear. No problem.
The
The host of Minas
Rangers will
Morgul
not
intends to
surrender
siege the White
Osgiliath.
City, but we do not yet know when the attack shall begin. We observed the Orcs hauling supplies to the Great Bridge, and have heard a thundering from above in the tunnels, but we do not know their vile designs. They have built several siege weapons on the western bank, but the bridge is broken, and cannot bear the weight of the Mumakil or their siege weapons on the eastern bank. I do not believe they will strike until their weapons can cross the river unhindered. If they have found a way to traverse the broken span, it could spell doom for Minas Tirith. Search the Great Bridge, and tell me of any Orcish craftwork you discover. Will there be any craftwork on the Great Bridge? We shall see. I have a memory that tells me I might find something. Yeah. Anyway, so as I was saying, once Tolkien wrote, so first I have to cross, and then I have to find the Great Bridge on the other side, huh? Am I headed towards one of the bridges? Yeah, vaguely. Okay. Yeah, once he had written The Lord of the Rings, he clearly came to love that kind of story. That kind of historical romance, as he would have called it, as he did call it. This idea of it was like the next step in mythology for him, right? Instead of just, he talks about how he always has loved history, true or feigned, and the idea of doing this kind of detailed, feigned history is clearly extremely attractive to him. And so his final ambition before he died, and the reason the Silmarillion got totally put off, never got completed, was that he came to love so much that feigned history that he wanted to. Here we go. It's a nice little battering ram, so is that. That he wanted to turn the whole Silmarillion into that. He wanted to combine the two. Mythology, myth-making, and... oh, wait, I'm way over here. But wait. But hark. What do I see? I can't get through. Maybe later. So yes, the great work that he wanted to finish, the Silmarillion, which would be like the Book of Lost Tales and the Lord of the Rings, had a baby, and it was the everything of both worlds, a powerful mythological story. I'll go back the way I was going. A powerful mythological story which was conveyed with all of the detail and compelling reality of the Lord of the Rings. That's what he wanted. And this, of course, is what led him to all of those interminable elvish growth tables that are published in the Nature of Middle-earth. But yeah, it was not his, in a lot of ways, it was not his natural mode. Okay, so I'm almost there. Is this... I guess that's the Great Bridge up there. Oh, this is the culvert entrance. I'm following the wrong thing, aren't I? Yes, I was. Bother. Oops. Maybe I should have killed those orcs after all and gotten rid of all the red. Okay, back down to the Great Bridge. I hate it when I get distracted by the wrong quest arrow. Of course, it's the kind of thing that's likely to happen when you're questing and talking about something else at the same time. Okay, here we are. We are at the Great Bridge. And we're walking. Pretty quiet around here. There's a bridge guard. The Morgul host has constructed a crude span, allowing great beasts and siege weapons to cross. Oh, man. And also burglars. But did I almost fall through into the river? I think I did. Okay. Let's see if I can find my ranger friend again. All right. I guess if I wanted even more frustration, I could get on my war steed and put on my invisibility hat. No, but I imagine that. Okay. All right, so we're going to go around. Oh, there's some slow dancing trolls. Look like they're at a 7th grade dance. So we're going to come up here and take a left. Okay, ravaging wargs. We must be close, except don't take a left, apparently. Oh, who's this? Damrod's wounded man. Well, hi, Damrod's wounded man.
Captain
I am a friend.
Is not here.
I am Inthal, soldier of Gondor. The pain is still overwhelming, but I feel it less keenly to know that there are still good folk fighting to defend the city. Captain Faramir is not here, friend. He went north with Gelnor, but they were pursued by a terrible apparition, and I do not know what became of them. It was a man, I think, but tall and clad all in armor. My blood ran cold at the sight of him. The orcs followed his commands, and they named him Gothmog. I would never question Faramir's courage or his resolve, but I hope for his sake, and for Gondor's, that he remain 2 steps ahead of this terrible commander. Okay. Nice. That was important. God, I stumbled onto you. Good old Gothmog. No relation. Okay, now go. This time go back through. I knew it wasn't through that gate. The ranger dude, I mean. Right, okay. Right, we're at the ravaging wargs, which means we're close-ish. That's right. Down this way. Uh-huh. That's what I thought. Okay, Meldir.
Ithilien is crawling.
This does not bode well for us or the White City. Faramir and Boromir threw down the Great Bridge when the last enemy tried to sack Osgiliath, but it appears that the orcs have found a way to rebuild it and allow it to bear the weight of enormous siege weapons. It is no easy task to break a bridge, my friend. Let us return to the tunnel soon and think on how we might slow their advance. Agreed. Okay, talk to Mablung and defeat 3 orcs on the way. I think I can do that. I think this is Gryfflet's first sort of meeting with Gothmog, yeah. I think so. Okay. Gonna head over to the culverts. Is this just a dead-end bridge? Yes, it is. Well, let's cause some trouble. There we go. I mean, since we're here and everything. Defeated orcs throughout Osgiliath 1 out of 10? 1 out of 8? I just did 10. Oh, I've got to do... Oh, okay. No, I've got to do the whole grand tour, don't I? Another 8. And another of Damrod's men. I see. That's what that other... I see. Okay. Fine. I will redo the tour then. Fortunately, I know my way all around the city. Okay. So those red rings are other dudes. Okay. No problem. No problem. We will head up there. Yeah, I do have to admit that if I were not a burglar, the tour around Osgiliath would probably become fairly tedious. If I had to, like, slay the entire, you know, Morgul host 4 times over because it kept regenning. Okay, so the other dude is up by the Palace of Eldacar. We got some Uruk-hai warriors up here. Oh, look. Could you please just not spot me? I'd appreciate that. I mean, that would be polite. So, I'll just keep going up the road. Yeah, I was thinking about killing you anyway. What? That guy didn't count? Oh, forget you guys. Why do the Uruk-hai here not count? That is not right. You know what else is not right? Being right next to the ring and not being able to find him. Is he, like, hiding in the rubble? Do I have to dig through the rubble for Damrod's other dude? No, he's right on the other side of this wall, which, of course, is utterly inaccessible from here. Needless to say. Are we getting closer? No, we're getting further away. Okay, these, I think that's right. The stairs up to the decorative statue. There's Damrod's guy. Oh, yes, hiding amongst the Nazgul. They won't ever think to look for you there. No sign of Faramir.
Many of the
You there. You are a friend, I can tell from your dress and bearing. You have to help me. I was separated from Faramir and sustained this injury, and it keeps me from doing something I must. Many of the Orcish forces are led by a terrible man clad all in armor. He is Gothmog, and they cower at his approach. Right, Gothmog, the lieutenant of Morgul? I know of him. But they follow his commands. Runners bring messages from him throughout the city, and I saw one of these runners perish beneath many falling stones near a fountain to the east. I was injured before I could dig through the rubble to find the orders. Okay, I have overheard the orcs speaking of a mighty weapon they plan to use against the White City. Go to the fountain and search through the stones for the dead message-bearer. The message he carries might give us knowledge of this weapon. Okay. Fountain to the east, huh? Will do. Fountain to the east. No fountain here, huh? How much to the east? Is it the other quest ring? Here's a fountain. No. Oh, I have to kill the orcs first? A pox upon. I won't call a pox upon whoever half looted that corpse. But may shame and great personal regret fall upon the person who half looted that corpse. Oh, I should probably stealth myself. And then attack some orcs that count. Which apparently... Oh, back with the executioners. They're all half-trolls. They're useless to me. And Easterlings, more useless. Hey, you look like an orc. Wow, that rat really leapt to the assault there. Oh, that rat put up a way better fight than that orc did. Okay. At least he does seem to count towards my 8. All right. Defilers are always annoying. I guess I can execute a sleeping archer here. Oh no, I've drawn the ire of another rat. Keep scavenging, dude. I'm still alive. Okay. How many was that? 4, huh? How many orcs are over there? 4. Sounds like it was meant to be. Okay. Oh, that last guy didn't even join the party? Okay. Dig through the rubble near the fountain east of Gelnor. Okay. Not too far away. Go back up the stairs here. Up by the half-troll executioners. Yeah, Meneldil Square. That seems to be where it is. Is it this fountain? Yep. Well, the next one over. This is the rubble that fell on him? Nothing of use. No supplies. I mean, orders. No. Okay, let's see. No. Ooh, stealth in the nick of time there, Gryfflet. Hey, wait a second. Did you actually successfully examine that rubble? No, you did not. Okay. Bring the orc message to Damrod. And that's it. We're good. Back to the culverts. Okay. So let's go back down where I was. What are my thoughts on Gothmog's depictions in the Peter Jackson films? Horrible. I did not like him at all. First of all, why should he be an orc? Like, it was not at all clear that there was any good reason whatsoever for him to be an orc. Secondly, oh no, I'm not going to be able to climb up this rubble, am I? This looks like unscalable rubble. Darn you! And there's the bridge I want to take. Right there. Right there. Oh, you annoying place, you. Not gonna lie, will not be sorry to leave Osgiliath. Yeah, he's the guy who looked like the Elephant Man. That's exactly it. And, so I found it hard to believe. I found it hard to believe in him. First of all, that they're, you know, why Gothmog should be an orc. In the text, by the way, I mean, so Gothmog, the Lieutenant of Morgul, is mentioned, but mentioned in the context of he's the dude who takes over when the Witch King dies. He's the one who's commanding the field at that point. So that's Gothmog's role. Honestly, I thought from the text, I thought he was one of the Nazgul. I mean, why would the second in command in... Wow, this is more direct to the culverts even than I expected. Why would the second in command in the army, like the second in command of the Tower of Minas Morgul, be an orc? Why would he not be another one of the Nazgul? Now, it's not that I blame Peter Jackson for not wanting, like, the Witch King is differentiated from the rest of the from the rest of the, you know, the ring wraiths, and none of the rest of them speak. And so, you know, trying to like give another like personal role basically to another of the Nazgul would have been kind of awkward. But in the text, I think he's a Nazgul. At least I don't see much reason to think he's not a Nazgul. But at the least, it's a little hard to believe that it would be an orc. It's possible, but then the thing I disliked most about Gothmog in the Peter Jackson films was the fight with Éowyn. Like, oh, Éowyn can take out the Witch King of Angmar, but she's going to get her butt kicked by an orc with one hand and one foot. Like, I was not.
I cannot read much of this message.
Damrod takes the parchment from you and reads the crude writing. Look at that. He took the correspondence course. I cannot read much of this message. I only completed the first 3 sequences of the Black Speech Correspondence course. But I can understand enough of it to know it means trouble. Oh, yeah. Quest reward. How about tactical mitigation?
Our
enemies have brought a great weapon to Osgiliath, a mighty ram that bears the name Grond. I thought that might be it. The message you recovered is addressed from Gothmog to the master of the great beasts, and it commands this master to pull the ram through the city to the west gate. We must assume that Gothmog or his superiors plan to use Grond to smash the gates of Minas Tirith. That's a plausible theory. We have to stop it. If this message has not been delivered by another of Gothmog's runners, we have a brief window available to us before Grond begins to move once more. This hunter from the Blackroot Vale has been itching for a chance to prove himself. Take him and find Grond before it leaves the city, and damage or destroy the ram before it reaches the Pelennor. Once it leaves Osgiliath, we will not be able to halt its progress. Okay. I'll have a go. Okay, Damrod is the one who has that book 4 quest, yeah, which I don't want yet. Okay, and Mablung.
Ithilien is crawling with
You have my
foes.
thanks. I see a few of my men have returned already, and I am certain the rest shall soon follow. Yet I know little of the fate of my captain Faramir, and I shall not count him among the dead while he remains lost. I have a mind to search for him within Osgiliath, for none that survived our flight into the tunnels saw him escape. If you will join me and my men in our search for Faramir, you are welcome among us for as long as your journey allows it. Hey, looking for Faramir is like literally what I've been all about here. More lag, huh? Mablung, wanting to talk to you. There we go. Our Captain Faramir is lost. There's ashes and stars, Phil. All of our number became separated after he dealt a great blow to the enemy's forces, and we only realized our loss after we regrouped here in the culverts. To my dismay, I was unaware of Faramir's ploy. It must have been a plan he put into action swiftly, but such haste did not lessen its impact. I heard a great shriek in the distance, like the deafening sound of a mumok's trunk, but shrill as the pitch of a bat's cry. No sooner had the forces of the enemy rallied to its source, and we were overwhelmed. We scattered, leading the foes with us, but we all made for the western gates for our escape. I did not make it so far. Great trolls blocked my advance, and I was forced to abandon my escape. I fled into the culverts, and there I found the others. So it has been. If Faramir made it beyond the western gates, he may yet live, but that is unknown to us all. Damrod, one of my most trusted men, saw firsthand the fury Faramir loosed upon our enemy. While he knows little else of Faramir's fate, all must be told of our captain's valor, especially if it may be his last. Okay, Damrod, let's hear the story. Looks like I have a bunch more quests still. Oh man, more sneezing fits. Okay. Mablung wishes for me to tell you of Faramir's daring assault. I shall tell it then, but until he is found, it shall have no ending. We had crossed to the eastern side of the city to disrupt the enemy's forces before they could rally again. We were outnumbered, but we held the eastern edge of the North Bridge for a time, until the most vile of the enemy's forces took notice of us. How do you know? I mean, they're maybe the most vile you've seen so far, but are you sure you have plumbed the depths of the vileness of the Morgul horde? I don't think you should be so confident. A great winged beast swooped down and swept a crowd of men aside, friend and foe alike, as if they were leaves amid the winds of a storm. Its wings blotted out the sun, and many of our number fled at once, but my captain and I held strong. Faramir took a spear from one of the fallen and called the beast as it clawed at the dead. Before I could stop him, he charged at the beast and thrust the spear into its dark heart. What happened then is a blur to me, for it let loose a great cry and thrashed in a fury as my captain and I fled to the west. We became separated on the bridge rafts, and soon forces of the Haradrim had cut me off from him completely. I was forced to retreat into the culverts, and that is where my story ends for now. Mablung seems to have a plan for you, and I would not deny him his chance to speak. Let us see what our next move shall be. Oh, I love it. So, there are two people. So Faramir and Eowyn both have killed one of the fell beasts. It's like a, is that like what Faramir and Eowyn do on date night?
Morgul host must be
Gryfflet,
defeated.
you know of our plight. Will you stay and aid us here, or do you heed the call of another? If you stay, our search shall begin at once, or else I shall have to proceed, I shall have to proceed with caution. Well, we wouldn't want that, so I will help you. For too few men still stand among us, and to weaken our guard is to invite defeat. If Faramir yet lives, I shall find my captain and have him lead his men to freedom beyond the Ramasechor.
We must protect Gondor at all cost.
We must begin our search, and I would have us begin here in the culverts, where we can move beneath the notice of the Morgul host above. It is possible that Faramir also fled into the tunnels as we did when the fighting erupted, after he speared the fell beast. But there are many places he may have sought refuge, and too few of us to spare from our posts. Search the depths, but do not search alone. These tunnels wind far underneath the city as a vast sunken labyrinth, and it is likely that some of the enemy's forces have traveled down into the dark, unwittingly or not. Okay, so the sunken labyrinth, that's the little hole over there, right? That's the instance I didn't do last time, nor this time, it would seem. But let me collect some more quests. For many years, the men of Gondor held the western half of the city against the ever-amassing forces of the east, but now we are broken. They swept over us like the strongest currents of the Anduin in the aftermath, and in the aftermath the loss of life was immeasurable. Many still lie where they died, unless their heads have been taken by the Uruk-hai, but their armor and weapons still line the streets of Osgiliath. I do not wish their blades or armor to fall into the hands of the enemy, for they would better serve us, even in the absence of the dead. Search the western streets and ways of the city, and return what you find to us here in the tunnels. Okay, collect undamaged blades. So, these are repeatables. Okay, I'll do them once, if they're not too annoying. Although they allow us to sneak freely through the city, the Orcish bridge rafts along the Anduin pose a great threat. With each passing hour, the host of Minas Morgul sends more forces across the river and draws closer to Minas Tirith. We must destroy their rafts and slow their advance, even if it cannot be stopped. Travel to the southern docks, burn their rafts, and slay the orcs that craft them. Go with haste, for the forces of the enemy do not rest. Okay. Alright. Meldir, Golthor, now Ekhil. Where's the fourth dude? As with the weapons and healing herbs, we have hidden numerous supply stores. Of course you have! Throughout the city, containing rations and fresh water. If our stay in this sunken labyrinth is to be a lengthy one, well, of course. Travel to the surface and search through the city. Okay. I asked for that. I deserved it. I really did. Alright, Halthir. Still grumpy?
My fellow rangers.
You saved my men from the blades of the enemy, but not all of my brothers were so fortunate. Over in the eastern streets by Meneldil Square, the half-trolls sharpen their axes and await more men to bring them down upon. Although I did not think it upon our first meeting, you are a bold burglar. Yeah, I noticed a little shade you were throwing in my direction then, and I would count your skills among the finest of my men. Oh, you're just trying to butter me up now. My brothers must be avenged, and I would have the honor be yours. Go to the square and perform some executions of your own. Defeat bunches of half-trolls. Okay. Alright, so I've got 4 more quests now, which I'm only doing once. Derufin, what do you decide? My brother is already searching for adventure throughout the city. We will find him and seek this weapon together. Okay. Travel to Grond, huh? What do you think? I've got 10 minutes. Could I do Grond? Let's do Grond.
We will find my brother and seek this weapon together.
Come on, let's go. Find Duilin.
Our enemies have brought a great ram to the city. We must damage or destroy it.
Right, let's damage or destroy the great ram, Derufin. Before we left the culverts, I asked Damrod how we will know this ram called Grond, and he responded with laughter. When I pressed him on the matter, he said we would simply know. So it must be obvious. Let us make our way through the city and see if he speaks the truth. I'll be stealthily right behind you. We must also remain alert for my brother Duilin, for he too hunts within the city. Okay. Come, Gryfflet. I'm ready. I'm just waiting for you to start running, man. I don't know which direction you're going. Okay. Here we go. Orcs ahead. None escape us. Okay. Just waiting for them to attack you. You're not an excellent tank, Derufin, but... Where are all the orcs? Yeah, I agree. There should be more foes than this. Uh-oh. A feeling of dread falls upon you, and hazy images swim before your eyes. And he's just thinking about lunch? Whoa. Oh dear, max dread all of a sudden. Who is here, Derufin? Perhaps they have been roused by their masters. He's not even noticing. You are so oblivious. What is wrong? You look quite unwell. Yeah, I'm experiencing heavy dread. You ask Derufin what he makes of the ghostly images and the feeling of dread that accompanied them, and he looks at you with confusion. I do not know of what you speak. I see nothing but an absence of orcs and the crumbling ruins of once proud Osgiliath. You say that you saw more than that? Do you see it still? What is going on here? No idea, man. No idea. Yeah, keep going. Grond awaits. Oh, who's that? Nice dress, too. Oh, it was a vision. Ooh. Gryfflet's getting a little woozy. Having some dread problems. Ah. Whoa. This is having a bit of a crisis here. No, I'm not well. I feel like I don't know, with J-Jax on a bender. I can tell by your face that something has you in its grip, and it is frustrating to see you experience this devilry and be unable to help in any way. All I can say to you is to master your eyes and distrust even convincing visions of horror, for they surely seek to lead you astray. Duilin and I grew up in the Blackroot Vale, and we are no strangers to feelings of dread. Well, that's true. But why do you feel this presence so keenly, and I feel nothing? The sooner we find Grond and destroy it, the sooner we will leave this place. If you are well enough to continue, you should search to the north, and I will search to the east. Stand strong against whatever evil you find, my friend, and know that you are its better. Fear no phantoms. Okay, I'll go north. Fear no darkness. Who is that? Is that what's-her-face? The broken body of Golthor. As you approach the fallen ranger, your mind rebels at the thought that Golthor might have somehow gotten ahead of you and come to Osgiliath against Aragorn's command. How could he have come more swiftly than the Corsair ships, more swiftly than your own tread? The merest flickering doubt is enough to dispel your wondering mind, and you see now that the body lying on the cold stones of war-torn Osgiliath is not that of Golthor at all, but another soldier fallen in the defense. A flash of color to the north. Can it be whom? Who was that lady? Oops, not that far north, apparently. Where's the flash of color I was meant to see? Find Grond somewhere within Osgiliath is my next... Okay. I see it, and now I can get to it too. Alright, this looks like it. The Wolf's Head in the Court of Candúr. Mechanism of Grond. Damage the Great Ram. What am I going to spike the wheels of Grond? It's kind of fun. Grond, resist your efforts. I, with my little pickaxe, will take it down. No, I shall not give up. I shall attack the even larger wheel. I shall attack the other even larger wheel. Ha-ha! Ho-ho! No good. Yes, I did it. That ram will never attack Minas Tirith now. Hey, you found Duilin. Yes, Amarthiel. That's who I thought it was. I stand in awe of your deeds. You have managed to inflict some damage on the great weapon of the enemy. It seems clear that the destruction of Grond itself is beyond our means, but you have inflicted enough damage to the structure that bears it, and that may slow its progress towards the gates of Minas Tirith. My brother fought a number of orcs within the city, well more than we encountered. He thinks they are preparing for a renewed assault. It is larger than a Mumak. Pretty impressive, huh? What a terrible weapon. My brother and I took solemn vows when we were children to always look upon the bright side of a situation, but I must tell you that I am finding it difficult to maintain this outlook while confronted with the terrible Grond. And yet, you managed to disable it, at least for a time. Even a weapon as frightful as this can be slowed. Hope springs in my breast even as I worry, and the worry passes. Uh-oh. Oh. Ooh. Gothmog. Calling me by name. Hey, dude. Many days have passed since I last saw you. Many leagues have you traveled. Oh, dear. We are both changed. Can you feel it? I was once Mordirith, oh dear, steward of Angmar, but I was undone by trickery. Also, I stabbed you in the face. The elf Lyrdon is slain, and the daughter. The daughter is not worthy of mention. I totally think she is. That was such a good story. I fell into the void, but my master pulled me back. The blade was the key, Gryfflet. The Dunedain who first wounded me lives still, drowning in his sorrows in the north. Or not so far north as you think. While he lives, I cannot die. Really? How does that work? Do you think he felt my return? Does hated Golthor feel my presence even now? Do you think my anger haunts him still in the northern lands? Not so far north as you think. It matters not. The Dark Lord has given me a new form, a stronger form. I am Gothmog, the Dread Terror, and Minas Tirith shall crumble before me. Well, shoot, guys. Run away! What's my next... Oh, that's it. Okay. And then Gothmog is going to politely leave while climbing across the rubble. You like the dramatic text interspersed with puppy honks? Yeah. Wow. Oh, that was perfectly timed, Derufin. You look as if you have seen a ghost, and if that terrible apparition's words are to be believed, mayhap you have. Is it true? Was this creature spared death? How can we hope to fight against such foes if even a true strike with a keen blade cannot cure them of this existence? You ask Derufin if he not tell anyone of Gothmog's words, and he nods his assent if reluctantly. I suppose that is for the best, but I do not like it. If the armies we face are led by creatures that cannot die, how long must we be expected to fight? How long must we stand? I hope you understand that I am not afraid, but my brother is not as brave as I am, and I fear that he will not be willing to go on endlessly without victory. It's nice of you to think of Duilin. Where is Duilin? Didn't come back with us, huh? What do you think, Damrod?
You damaged the great
Derufin
ram.
tells me that you were able to do some damage to the Great Ram, and it will be some time before Grond can be used against Minas Tirith. Why then is the color drained from your face, and why do you bear that stricken expression? The thought of telling Damrod the truth weighs heavily upon you, but you know that the soldier already struggles on with very little hope. To tell him that the leaders of the enemy's armies cannot be defeated in battle, and that death holds no permanence for such creatures of evil, would dash away any of his hopes that remain. Cheer up, Gryfflet. Your efforts have brought the defenders of Minas Tirith some time. And those extra hours, however brief, might prove the difference. Evil cannot fight forever. Yeah, exactly. Faramir will be found, and our battles will be won. Get some rest if you can. Soon we will look to join the defenders of the White City, and our battle will begin anew. But for now, you have done well. Damrod smiles heartily at you, but you think of the foe that was once Mordorith, and your heart is heavy. Eärnur returns to Minas Tirith. That's not great. Okay. Bunch of agility there. Let's go with agility and vitality. How about that? Okay. Burdening the Great Bridge. Time goes short. The host of Minas Morgul has readied their siege equipment, and now it is only a matter of time before they send it across the Anduin and begin their great assault. We must try to slow their advance at any cost. The span they constructed is of Orcish make, and I do not think it is as stable as they believe. They have many trolls among their forces. Perhaps if the heaviest among them were slain on the span, their weight might cause it to cave in before their equipment crosses. Go to the Great Bridge and slay trolls upon their span. Let us see if my thinking is correct, oh boy. Okay. The host of Minas Morgul has grown beyond my imagining. Orcs, trolls, Uruk-hai, Haradrim, half-trolls, ogres, just kidding, and now Easterlings. It has not done much for the spirits of my men, as you might suppose. It is a truly daunting force, but we cannot lose hope, not yet. The Easterlings and Haradrim have made camp on the eastern streets of the city, but I know from my many years that they scare far more easily than Orcs. Travel to the eastern streets and slay many of their numbers. If their morale might yet be broken, I can think of none other than Faramir or such a fine burglar who might drive them from our lands. Defeat Haradrim and Easterlings. Okay. And then the next is...
We fall from the Pelennor as we fell from Osgiliath.
Is this now the next one? The next... This is the next epic now? I'm now up to this? I don't think I have any other epics. No, I don't. Okay. All right. So then here's what we will do. Next week I will be here, and we will finish Osgiliath next week. I will do these quests. I will do these rep quests because I'm a completionist. I will do them once, and we shall help to cleanse Osgiliath, and then I will do the Ashes and Stars quest, and then once we complete that, then we will leave Minas Tirith and we will leave Osgiliath and head towards Minas Tirith. Okay, Minas Tirith by February. Still think we might get there. All right, awesome. That is the plan. I will be gone the week after next. So I'll be here next week. I'll be gone the week after. I'll be in Australia for Osmoot.
It's going to be awesome fun. So I will be down where the stars are strange the week after next, but then I'll be back on the first Friday of February. And the first Friday of February, which is delightfully alliterative, we shall hopefully make it to Minas Tirith, or at least to the Ramos by then. All right. Thank you, everybody. I will see you guys next week. Bye now. Thanks for joining in on my rambles around Standing Stone's brilliant digital adaptation of Tolkien's world. If you enjoy these adventures, please consider supporting this and other entertaining educational programming by donating at signumuniversity.org/fund.